It happens in the quiet moments, usually when you're completely alone. You're sitting in your room or walking home after a long day, and you suddenly feel a heavy, invisible wall separating you from everyone else. It isn't that you lack social skills, and it isn't that you don't have friends. It's the sinking realization that the very thing the world praises you for, your intelligence, is also the thing that is slowly isolating you. You see patterns others miss. You hear the subtext in conversations that others ignore. And while the world calls this a gift, to you it often feels like you are watching life from behind a pane of glass, able to see everything clearly, but unable to fully touch it. This is the hidden cost of high intelligence. And if you have ever felt lonely, not because you are physically alone, but because your mind moves at a speed the world refuses to match, then this creates a specific kind of exhaustion that very few people talk about. Because intelligence isn't just about solving problems. It is about processing the world at a higher resolution. Imagine watching a movie in 4K while everyone else is watching it in 480p. You aren't trying to be difficult. You aren't trying to overanalyze, but you notice the micro expressions on a friend's face that betray their lie. You sense the shifting dynamics in a room the second you walk in. Your brain collects data instinctively, like a net catching leaves in a river, and you cannot simply turn it off. This leads to the first major burden, the gap of translation. You spend half your energy just translating yourself so others can understand you. You have a complex thought, a web of connections and nuances, but to communicate it, you have to chop it down, simplify it, and dilute it until it's palatable. You learn to hold back. You learn to wait. You learn that if you speak at your natural pace, people look at you with confusion. So you shrink. You edit your personality in real time. And over years, this constant self-editing creates a profound sense of alienation. You start to wonder, does anyone actually know who I am? Or do they only know the simplified version I've built for them? But the isolation is only the surface layer. If we go deeper, we find the trap of emotional intellectualization. There is a myth that highly intelligent people are cold or unfeeling. The truth is often the exact opposite. You feel things with overwhelming intensity. But because your mind is a problem-solving machine, you try to solve your emotions instead of feeling them. When sadness hits, you analyze the root cause. You can explain exactly why you are heartbroken with perfect logic, yet you cannot stop the pain. You build an intellectual fortress around your heart. You rationalize things that hurt. You explain away betrayal. You understand the why behind someone's bad behavior so clearly that you often forgive them before you've even allowed yourself to be angry. This is dangerous. You become the therapist for everyone else, while your own needs go unspoken because you've convinced yourself you should be strong enough to handle them alone. And that brings us to the heaviest weight of all, the burden of potential. From the time you were a child, you heard the words, "You are so smart. You are so gifted." At first, this feels like praise, but eventually it hardens into a debt. Potential stops being a possibility and starts feeling like a minimum requirement. When you are smart, people assume you will succeed. They assume you know what to do. They assume you don't need help. This creates a paralyzing fear of failure. For others, failure is just part of learning. For you, failure feels like a betrayal of your identity. If you aren't the smart one, then who are you? This is why so many highly intelligent people struggle with procrastination or paralysis. It's the terrified perfectionism of a mind that can see 10,000 potential outcomes and is afraid of choosing the wrong one. Ignorance is bliss because ignorance allows you to leap without looking. Intelligence forces you to stare into the abyss of consequences. So, where does this leave you? Are you doomed to walk through life as an observer, disconnected and overwhelmed? No, because there is a shift that happens when you stop fighting your nature and start honoring it. The turning point comes when you realize that your depth is not a defect. The world needs people who feel too much. It needs people who think too deeply. The frustration you feel with surface-level interactions is actually a compass. It is guiding you toward the few rare people who can meet you at your level. And they do exist. You have to stop trying to force your ocean into a cup. You have to stop apologizing for the complexity of your mind. The loneliness you feel is real, but it is also temporary. It is the space between leaving the superficial and finding the substantial. The true gift of intelligence is not that you can outthink others. It's that you can see the beauty that others walk past. You can see the poetry in a mundane moment. You can understand the hidden connections that bind humanity together. Your mind is a lantern. Yes, carrying a lantern in the dark can be lonely because you see the shadows that others don't. But you also light the path. You don't need to dim your light to make others comfortable. You just need to keep walking until you find the others who are carrying lanterns too. And when you do, When you finally have that conversation where you don't have to translate, where you don't have to slow down, where you are understood before you even finish your sentence, you will realize that the burden was never the intelligence itself. The burden was simply carrying it alone, and you don't have to do that anymore.